Hey everybody, Pat Palmer, the computer guy here from Hampton, Iowa for another edition of Pat's on Periscope. Welcome to a Monday night, the 13th of July. Yeah, summer is going. It was so hot today, I just couldn't even keep track of the dates today. So we're here with another edition of Pat's on Periscope. Hello, Cattails Laura. She is here today. Today we're going to talk about three things. Of course, we always cover tech. We always cover social, and we always cover a hoax on the format for today. And I think that's been going pretty well. It covers 15 minutes, and I think that people do get a little bit out of it, and I appreciate that they do. I've had several people say, hey, I watched that and I learned something. So that's a good thing. We're getting getting ready for the Franklin County Fair. That's coming up on Wednesday through Sunday. And our big fair parade in Franklin County is on Tuesday, that's tomorrow. And we'll be throwing out some frisbees. I should have brought a frisbee down here, but imagine this is a frisbee and we're going to throw frisbees. And we're going to do like we did in past years. The winning frisbee is going to be worth $100. And that will go 24 hours. I'll post the number on my Facebook page of the winning number. That will go 24 hours. At Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, if nobody wins that, we'll draw another one. That frisbee is worth $50, and if nobody wins that, we'll draw another one Thursday night. That'll be worth $20, and if nobody has that, then I guess everybody just got a bunch of free frisbees. So that's what we're doing for the fair parade. My buddy Chad is going to be riding shotgun with me, so if you happen to see him in the parade, just holler, hey Chad. And anyway, he's going to be with us. So another edition of Pat's on Periscope. First of all, we're going to talk about tech. And again, we want to talk a little bit about email situations again. When you go to the county fair, when you go to the state fair, it used to be, it was lined up as far as the eye could see with people selling siding, people selling this, people selling that. And they used to, of course, always want your phone number, and people say, okay, I'll put my phone number down. And they would do that, and then about 9:30 at night, some night you get a call from a siding salesman. Yes, you signed up at our booth at the fair, and you have won. And so people didn't like getting called at 9:30 at night from siding salesmen, so people then stopped putting their phone numbers on the tickets. And of course, people that complain about the no contact or the do not call registry naturally put their cell phone numbers on those things, and then they get upset when the siding salesman calls their cell phone. So, and I'm picking on siding salesmen. I don't know why. It could be computer guys for all I know. But anyway, siding salesmen used to be prevalent at the fair now, and now they have some other stuff. So what my suggestion is of course now they don't want phone numbers as much as they want your email address. And now you can give them your standard email address, the one that you use every day, maybe the one that's at work, which I wouldn't. But anyway, what my advice is you should have at least 2 or 3 emails created under your name anyway. If you have maybe one that's at a Hotmail address, if you have a cell phone, you may have one at a Gmail address or something like that. So again, we talked last week about not having your ISP email address. Of course, you want to graduate away from that, because if you switch ISPs, then, or internet service providers, then you don't want to have that hassle of switching all that. So what I suggest you do is get yourself another email address that you may respond to ads or offers on the internet from. Sometimes you do see an email, you'd like more information on something, or on Facebook, or something pops up that you would like some more information on, but you don't want to give them your home email address or your personal email address that comes to it all the time. You may want to give them what I would call a junk mail email address, where junk mail, sales things, the Monday morning memo, things like that come to instead of your regular email. Although if you subscribe to the Monday morning memo, I do hope that you put your regular email address down so that you get that every week. So, but that's my suggestion for email when you go to the state fair, when you go to the county fairs, is have that alternate email address where you can just give that to them, and you check it once a month, and oh yeah, I got something from the siding salesman or the candle place, or whatever. So that's my suggestion on that. So that's today's tech tip, is having some alternate email addresses that you don't want them to send it really to your work email address and tying that up, because your work may have some policies on third-party emails like that, and you don't want to have solicitations for ads, because the next thing you know, that they sell that to a list, and then they sell that to a list, and then the email's full of Viagra ads, and nobody really needs that. So that's my tip on that, is to get yourself an alternate email address. Next up, like I said, we're going to talk about tech, we're going to talk about social, and we're going to talk about a hoax. And next up on the list is some legal issues with Periscope. This whole Periscope thing is all fine and dandy. It's great until somebody gets in trouble. That's what is going to end up with it, and that won't jeopardize it. But like everything else on social media, it takes one or two bad apples to spoil the whole bunch. And so that's what we're trying to not have happen here. Again, you want to keep in mind that live streaming this is fun, and so what I do with my Periscope is I scope it like right now live at 8 o'clock, and then it stays in my phone, and then I upload it to a template I've had created, and I upload that to YouTube, and I post on Facebook as well and Google Plus. And so people can, if they miss the live broadcast or they miss the 24-hour replay, then they will still get a hold of the YouTube broadcast of this. And so I've had over the weekend, many suggestions of how to do it. I picked what I would call the simplest way I know how. Somebody wanted me to live stream with Google Plus Hangouts and Periscopes, and I'm saying, no, it's not that big of a deal. So you may find the Periscopes eventually on YouTube. I'm 4 weeks behind, so I'm going to catch up this week, and this broadcast on the 13th will probably be sometime next week. So you'll see it, and if you watch it, you watch it. If you don't, you don't. But anyway, it will be rebroadcast on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And again, getting back to this is, of course, I got some tips from my friend Ruth Carter at the Carter Law Firm, because I want to give credit to Ruth Carter at Carter Law Firm, because otherwise I'd be in trouble for stealing her copyrighted stuff. And so that's the first issue, is copyright. What you don't want to do is get on here and use a bunch of copyrighted material to shoot the material, or to videotape or tape the material that may be copyrighted. Good example of this, a lot of concerts I see people holding up their phones and taping concerts, recording them, and a couple of the artists get pretty stickly on that. Prince is one that really can cause a stink. I think Garth has had some issues as well. I don't think they mind a little bit. The sign on the door says none, but you probably can't police it all. But anyway, Prince is really a stickler for it, as far as having it show up on YouTube. And when it does show up on YouTube, they know the clips a little bit of the clips is kind of like that sound recognition software. If they recognize the tune and the artist, they'll block it for you. So going to a concert and recording somebody's copyrighted concert and all their songs, that may be frowned upon. Neil Diamond does his own. He broadcasts his own Periscopes all the time from different concerts and behind the scenes and backstage and whatnot, and that's pretty cool when the artists themselves can do that. And hopefully, maybe the artists can generate more ticket sales, more concert appearances through Periscope. This is a new medium. Maybe they'll do that. So anyway, if you're somewhere where you're broadcasting something that may be copyrighted, be aware that I'd hate to have your account shut down over that. Again, trademark issues, about the same as copyright. If you're talking about something, make sure that you point out that this isn't my original work. This might be Ruth's original work. So that's something to think about there. Federal Trade Commission rules. If you are lucky enough to have a sponsorship on Periscope, which some people have blogs and whatnot that recommend products or review products, and if you review a product, you may get a product free for a review, something like that. You need to make sure that people understand that part of it is that you may be doing a review for a product, but then you may be getting compensation back, and that falls under the FTC, Federal Trade Communication. Again, anything that you post on Periscope is your content, but you agree then anybody else does have that content. So don't get too shook up if somebody takes your video and does a screen capture and posts it somewhere else. That could happen. I was in a factory here in Ohio for Systemax a few years ago, and of course, silly me, I started taking pictures of the factory and then got warned because those were trade secrets and you can't do that. So if you're going to be anywhere where they're going to be discussing trade secrets or very confidential information, make sure that you just don't do that, because nobody wants their trade secrets spread out all over the earth. I mean, I was talking to the guy who invented the Dave's ice cream, the frozen custard down in southern Iowa, down by Iowa City, and he didn't allow tours in his ice cream plant. First of all, he said it was going to cost $250,000 to be able to allow people in there to sanitize it, and number two, he says nobody's business as far as their processes, because they have a couple of special processes. Again, privacy. Anything you don't want on there that you wouldn't want on there of you, don't put it on there of somebody else. Again, it's one of those cases of you can't put the Periscope live in the women's bathroom at the bar. You can't do it in dressing rooms, shower rooms, the pool, things like that. Common sense stuff that sometimes goes out the window at 1:30 in the morning on a Friday or Saturday night. Just be careful with Periscope and don't ruin it for yourself or for others. And the final one is defamation. If you get on Periscope and just blast somebody out of the water on maybe their business practices or themselves, or really defame somebody, you could be sued over it. So just be careful on what you're saying on the Periscope, and make sure that you're not just hopping up on the soapbox and just giving somebody the business over it. So there are no 7-second delays or no bleep buttons, and so if you drop the F-bomb or whatever, that's what you have to live with. So again, don't post anything on there that you wouldn't want posted, and assume anything that you post is going to be seen by everybody. So there's no keeping secrets from anybody, because it could be seen by them. So even people that you block, they can get around that. Just start up another Twitter account, another Periscope account, and then they can see your stuff. Okay, we've talked about tech with the emails for the county fair, and we've talked about Periscope. One thing that's going to be probably a problem this week, especially in Hampton, here, is with the county fair and state fairs as well. Especially in Hampton, we're a town of about 4,200 people, and we have an iWireless tower, we have a US Cellular tower, and we have a Verizon tower. And what's going to happen is we're going to have 10 or 15,000 people at the fairgrounds. We're all going to want to hold their cameras up and post stuff on Facebook or post stuff on Periscope, and they're going to say, this doesn't work, and they're going to be upset by that because the congestion on the cell phone towers. A couple years ago, it was hot. It was this 100-degree temperature stuff like we had today, about 95 I think we got up to, and the cell phone towers were overworked, and they got too hot, and some of them just kind of crashed or shut down. I know that was a good selling boom for Verizon because it happened to US Cellular, and they were just in one heck of a mess with all this outage stuff. And so if you go to our county fair, there's going to be 10 to 15,000 people out there. Your cell phone may not work right to post social media. Now, texting and calling may be different, but the 4G, the 3G stuff, that you may have an issue with that. And finally, I'm going to talk about a hoax today. How many people have seen the Delta Air, the Southwest airline tickets, or free Disneyland tickets they're giving away online? All you have to do is just click and share and say thank you or yes or some code word, and you'll be entered to win. No, it doesn't happen that way. Those companies are not the legitimate companies giving that stuff away. I saw the other day that Disney World had Disney, two words, Disney World, and then with a dot, a period at the end of World. That's not Disney World. Disney Space World dot had like 3,000 people that were fans. Disney World itself has 2 million. So you can tell that it's a hoax, but people are still falling for this. And then lately I've seen a lot of people's profiles get hijacked, and I think it's because of this. People are clicking these things and they're saying log in with your Facebook login, and they're doing that, and boom, that's when your ID gets stolen, and that's when a hacker can take over your profile and create a new profile and then you got people saying, "Hello, I want to be your friend," and you say, "Well, I'm already your friend," and then of course that's where the trouble starts. So just don't do that. Don't pass those along. Just block them or tell your friends they're a hoax. And I know that's just what happens. So I know people have gotten upset with me when I said, you shouldn't post that because that's really not going to happen. It's a hoax. They never post who won. They never say, hey, we had some winners, check it out on our website. They never do that because they never give the tickets away. So anyway, what we've done tonight on Pat's on Periscope is we've talked about tech, we talked about our email situation and getting a duplicate or another one for the county fairs or state fairs. We talked about some tips with Periscope from our good friend Ruth from the Carter Law Firm, and we also talked about the hoaxes with the Delta Air, the Southwest Airlines, and Disney World and Disneyland, that sort of stuff. So we will be rebroadcasting this. Of course, it's good for 24 hours on the Periscope, and then we will be rebroadcasting this probably later next week, later next week. And that's going to be part of our YouTube video series of Pat's on Periscope. So be prepared for that. Also be prepared for my new show coming up called Random Access. And right now, randomaccess.bz is something that just forwards to my YouTube page. But eventually, we're going to have that as a live website in itself. So I have killed about enough time as I'm going to kill tonight talking to you folks about tech and about social and about hoaxes that I think we can wrap things up for tonight. Again, Pat Palmer, the computer guy here at www.thecomputerguy.bz. As always, I enjoy talking to you every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Don't forget to subscribe to the Monday Morning Memo. You can find that at my website at www.thecomputerguy.bz or hit me up on Facebook. I always like all the friends and fans there at Pat the Computer Guy. That's Facebook/Pat the Computer Guy. So we will see you next Monday night at 8 o'clock. You have a good week.